How much does it cost to start a business? It's a really good question, but it's also a loaded question. What's up, guys? Matt here with Matco Metalworks, and along with our instructional videos, the job videos, what we have going on, our day-to-day stuff, I'm going to start throwing in some business videos, stuff that maybe how we start, what we did, what we do, what we use, what we don't, to kind of help if you're starting a business or looking at starting a business, that will help you guys maybe be more consistent. One thing about starting a business, it's kind of going to be like a roller coaster. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and it'll be very frustrating, time consuming, a little overwhelming at times. And so hopefully these videos can help out with some of that stuff. But what I wanted to say is it will cost you money to start a business, depending on the business you start as to how much. In the business I'm in, you can get in to just basic welding, relatively inexpensive. Once you get down the road and you start doing fabrication and stuff like that, it's going to take larger equipment, which is going to be larger amounts of money. If you're in the paint business, you can go spend $100 or $50 for that matter, and you got brushes, rollers, some scrapers, and you're in the paint business. That's why you see a lot of them. Landscaping, lawn care, you can buy a $1,000 lawnmower and a $50 push mower, and you're in business. Get your little trailer or whatever. That's why you see a lot of people doing that, because it's so easy to get into. There's so many yards that need to be mowed. You can do it cheaper than the other guy, whatever the case may be. But I don't know landscaping. I did do some lawn care when I was younger, mowed 10 or 15 yards for a couple of summers, and there's good money in it, just so you know. So my business started originally part-time. I was working for a company, and I had a very good schedule where I was off 3, 4, 5 days at a time. And so I knew I wanted to get into welding. I went to welding school. I was a maintenance technician at the time for a power company. And I started, doing stuff on the side in my parents' garage. It was a small 24 by 24 single car garage, and just had basic power. I did have 220 in it. We had it, or my dad and mom had it built at the time, I guess. I gave them some money towards it and said, hey, if we can do this, I'll give you some money. I just need somewhere to do some welding jobs on the side. So they did, they agreed to it, and they put the garage up. I had a portion of it, I think I'd say 300 square feet, 350 maybe, is what I started in. So you don't have to have a lot of space to start a welding business. You're gonna be restricted, or you're gonna have to work outside. So depending on where you live, time of year, that kind of comes into play, but you just have to be willing to adapt and overcome, I guess. Because unless you have an abundant amount of money, or you're stepping into an existing business, you be very careful about taking massive loans and financing things when you're first starting a business. That's something you do when you get down the road 4 or 5 years, and you have the income and the steady customer base to pay for those things. That's when you can look at financing equipment, or buildings, or leasing equipment. That's when those things are okay. Starting out, I would highly steer clear of those things for sure. So started out in a 300 square foot shop, 400 square foot, and did that for a few years, just doing implements, tractors. We lived in a rural community, so there's a lot of farms around, so we're able to pick up stuff like that. Horse barns, did a lot of horse stall doors and gates and stuff like that, to just kind of do part-time stuff, just to kind of start building the business. And I knew I wanted to do that, didn't know I would be to the scale I'm at now, and I'm by no means a big business. I'm still a small business. We have a few employees, but we do a ton of work. We hustle, we grind, and we put a lot of work out, but we're still a small business. But so that was 2006, and that went on for a few years, and I got laid off from 2 companies in that time. 2012, I finally decided that I was tired of getting laid off. I was tired of depending on somebody else for my financial needs. And so that's when I decided to find somewhere to rent. I wasn't near enough to my parents to use their garage anymore. It wasn't big enough. And so I found somewhere to rent. Needless to say, it wasn't much bigger than what I had there, because it was a shop that was a 30 by 30, but I only had about half of it. So I had about, by the time I put a desk and some storage in there, I had a 15 by 25 work area. And figured I'd be there for a year or two and then move up. Well, it went very quickly. 2012 that started, went into the early spring 2013, and it got really busy really quick. I was just by myself, and I was out riding around one day and ran across the shop I'm standing in today, and the gates were locked. It's a fully fenced in property. It's sitting on 2.5 acres, and I asked a buddy of mine that I was on the way to his house, lived nearby, what was going on with it, because everything was grown up and nothing had been touched for a while. And so he didn't know anything about it. Started researching, finding tax records, and come to find out it was a foreclosure, and the bank owned it. And so I called the bank. Took me a few phone calls to find out who to talk to, the right person to go to handle foreclosures and short sales for the bank. Not everybody can talk to you about that stuff. So if you're fortunate enough to find it, you can get great deals. It will be, it'll test your patience. I promise you that, because I called about every 2 days to this lady, and she probably got annoyed, but I didn't care. I knew that this is where I was supposed to be. I knew God put it in my path. I knew it was His plan, and I have lack of patience anyway, and so I bugged her and bugged her and bugged her. Finally was able to put in an offer. We negotiated back and forth for a few weeks, and then came to an agreement and a price, and purchased this property in July of 2013. And so we're here today. We're busting at the seams. Went from a 15 by 30 shop space to a 40 by 60. So a massive jump. It filled up in a matter of 2.5 years. It was full. Here it is, 2019, and we're busting at the seams. I've got 3 employees other than myself that run here, and it can get a little hectic at times, a little stressful, just being so tight. But I truly believe this year is going to be our year of growth and adding onto this shop. So we'll see what God has in store. He has truly blessed me, that is for sure. And we just love what we do, and I want to share with you guys anything that we can to help you in a business matter. I'm by no means a business consultant. I can only tell you stuff that I've experienced through this business. Like I said, I did lawn care in a little small business, mowing 10 or 15 yards for a couple summers. But other than that, I know this welding business. And like I said, I go back to starting out. I highly recommend, unless you're stepping into an existing business that's run, by family, and you're the next generation to take over, then that's a totally different ballgame. But if you're starting out from zero and you have nothing, don't go out and finance stuff and spend a bunch of money. Get the basics, get what you need to work. You don't have to have a fancy office. You don't have to drive a fancy vehicle. I promise you, it's not going to make a difference. If you show up to somebody's house, if they call you to fix something, a handrail or a chimney cap or whatever it is, I'm saying these things because this is what I started out doing. This is the phone calls I got. Or something I did was actually other welding companies subbed out work to me when I first started. They had overflow. They were busy. I'm talking about companies that have 20 or 30 employees. They were busy, so they would sub out overflow work to me. It was small stuff to them, but to me it was perfect stuff that would fit in my shop. And so we started doing that and started getting busier and busier. And one thing led to another. And like I said, this is where we're at today. So don't go out and spend a bunch of money. Yes, it costs money. It's going to be an initial investment, but you can save up a little money. I started out with a welder that cost $1,800, a DeWalt chop saw that cost $200, and a $100 grinder. I had some hand tools and my welding shield and stuff like that, but that's stuff I had from welding school that I had already purchased and saved and taken care of it. You're gonna have some miscellaneous things here and there, but for $2,500, that's basically what I had to start the welding business. And so you don't have to go out and spend $10,000 or get a loan or finance anything. Technically, you can start a welding business. You don't have to have a truck. Unless you're doing specifically portable welding, then you're in a totally, that's kind of different. You're probably gonna have to either have something that pulls a trailer, some kind of SUV or something you can pull a trailer and put your welder on. And even then, portable welders, you can find them used on Craigslist or wherever, very, very frequently and reasonable priced. Just be careful what you buy. Like anything else, you want to make sure it's been taken care of and not run to death. But you don't have to go out and spend $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 to start a welding business by any means. I know a lot of people that do it in their garage part-time just for something to do, that they use $400, $500, $600 welders from Home Depot or Lowe's. I chose not to do that. I've got more commercial stuff, but you can do that. That's not a problem. There's nothing against those things. It depends what you want to do and the path in which you're trying to go. And I knew that I didn't want to buy smaller stuff because I knew eventually I was going to need the bigger stuff anyway. So I just saved up the money, went ahead and purchased it, and that's where we went from. So anyway, I hope this helps you guys realize that yes, it's going to take money, but you can also start and run a successful business on the bare minimums and take it in stages. When you get a little money, then you buy some other equipment. But I will tell you, and if you've done research, you've already heard this, that it's going to take 3 to 5 years before you make enough profit to pay yourself. You're going to pay your bills, you're going to pay for equipment, unless you just don't want to grow. If you want to grow and you want to get bigger and bigger, it's going to take more equipment, more space, and so you're going to have to take that money that's coming in. Instead of paying yourself, you're going to have to buy all that stuff. And so, like I said, it's you have to be very careful about loans and financing stuff until you get down the road. That's where I'm at in the position now, is looking to get a bigger plasma table and a better tubing bender. And there's a lot of leasing options and financing options that they're actually beneficial for tax purposes. That's something you need to talk to a CPA about. It's a lot of little things that go into a business, period, not just a welding business, but a business that you have to look at, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. So make lists every day. That's one thing that I do still to this day, is make a list, prioritize what you need to get done. A lot of times you're going to have to come in early, you're going to have to work at lunch on office stuff, or you're going to have to stay late because you have to be working in the shop or getting stuff done in order to make money, so that you're able to do that stuff. So, excuse me, I hope that helps. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from, and I'll be glad to answer questions. I hope I can make some more videos that will share my experience in a small business, and hopefully help you in your path or your journey in your small business. So hope that helps. If you got any questions, feel free to comment, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.